Hi all, so welcome to this channel once again, and in this video session I'll discuss AS400 interview questions and answers. So this is part 19 video. So let me start with the questions. So first question is, what is the maximum size of a data area? So we can have a data area of type boolean, character or numeric. So we can have max size of 9999 for the characters, and the second question is how to execute a job in AS400. So basically there is a CL command which is used to execute a job named submit job. So we can use that CL command to fire a job as a batch job. The third question is how to translate field values from lowercase to uppercase in RPG. So now we have SQL functions which we can use directly, like upper, but in as this question is asked in RPG, so we have opcode or BIF, you can say, that is xlate, which we can use to uh, convert the lowercase to the uppercase. The next question is, what are the max params that can be passed from one RPG to another RPG program? So this is the situation where we are calling the RPG program from the other RPG program. So we can max pass to 55 parameters. You can try at your end. Uh, the fifth one is, how do you write and read value same as the XGFMT in RPG using a DSPF in serial program? So as we all know, when we use the execute format opcode in RPGLE for the display file display, that is when we want to display, that is write or then read the record from a display file, so we use the XCFMT in the RPG. So the same thing, as the same way, we have a command in CL2, that is send receive F, that is first write and then read uh, from the display file. So we can use that command in CL program to perform the same action as what we do using EXFMT in RPG. The next question is, how do you display the screen in CL program? Now this one is somewhat related to the fifth question, where we are writing and reading. Now this time only we are displaying, means we are only writing, so we can simply use sendf, because sendf is for sending the records to the file, or receive is for reading. So at that time we are using this time send receive. Now this time we will only use sendf command. So we'll use sendf command to display a screen in CL program. Next question is, how to check end of file in CL program. So we have a mon message that is CPF0864, which we can check in the CL program, and if that is occurred, then it means that the end of file is reached in CL program, and we need to abort the process at this point, or do perform some actions at that time. Difference between work user job or and work active job. Now the main important difference here is, work active job basically gives the information of all the jobs which are active uh, at a time, but work user job gives the information of all the jobs, even which are active and which are not active too. That is all the jobs including the active jobs. So this is the main difference between these two. And in work user job we can directly refer to particular user job as well, which we cannot perform with the work active job. So work active job give us all the active jobs by any user. So this is the main difference between these two. What is PSSR? P star PSSR is a subroutine in RPG program, uh, which execute automatically when any error occurs in the RPG program. So this is basically for the error handling in RPG program. Next question is, what are max params passed from RPG to CL program? So now we can pass from RPG to RPG we can pass 255 parameters, but from RPG to CL we can pass 40 parameters at a time. Why do we use star IN LR to star on? Now we have seen that when we write the RPG program, we basically use star IN LR to star on, or we use set on LR. These two things are same, but we use this almost all the time in our program. So why we are using this? Just because to freeze the resources which are allocated when we are running that process or running that program. So in case if we use this, all the variables which are active at that time when we are calling that program, uh, the memory which is occupied by those variables are free, and the variables got reinitialized to its default value. So this is why we use the NLR on, but there is a catch here that it also plays some role for performance, so that I'll discuss later. If in case we have some question like that, we'll be discussing that too in the interview questions things, because that is an important part uh, and anyone can ask you that question, so I'll cover that question too. So let's keep the answer short for this one. That's why we are using this. Now, how do you shut down your IBM server? That is power down sys. So that's the command which we can use to shut down your IBM server. If your workstation does not show login screen, what might be the problem? So this is something which is related with the subsystem. So if in case this is happening, there must or there might be anything uh, or any problem which is related to the subsystem. A program variable used with embedded SQL in RPG is called as. So as we all know that when we use the embedded SQL using the execute SQL thing in the RPG program, that becomes basically an SQL RPG program or SQL RPG program. So those variables which are referred by the SQLs are become the host variable. So basically they are called as host variable. Now the next question is, what the when the unique constraint on a file got executed. So in this question, let me explain you some points for related with the file constraints. So when we apply a constraint, that is a unique constraint on a file, what happened, we cannot insert the duplicate entries with respect to the key fields of that file. So if we try to insert the duplicate entries, we are not allowed to insert that. Even we got the error that duplicate value cannot be inserted or the value already exists, like that. So it means, so it is now clear to you all that when we perform the insert, then it checks for the unique constraint if any. If there are any unique constraint present on the file, then after that those unique constraints got checked. Every value which we are going to insert got checked with respect to the keys in the file, that whether it is present or not. If that's present, we will get a message that this value is already present, or you are trying to insert a duplicate value, and we are not allowed to do that. So this answers your question, that is when the unique constraint on a file got executed. So the unique constraint which are applied on a particular file only got executed when we are trying to insert the records in that file. So that's all 15 questions here which are covered in this video. So thank you and have a nice time.